type of culture, so that we can bring people up as people feel they have to move on. If we don't do that, we're going to have a brain drain, and that's my biggest concern, is that we lose good people, we have nobody to replace.
Heath, I think you had questions about the budget?
I do. Obviously, I think I heard the same thing everybody else did when we talk about 12% on the water and wastewater rates, and how that equates to $10.50 for the average user per month, which for a family that might be struggling, their budget conscious, quickly turns into 2 or 3 meals for their family. Is there a way, because we have 5-year plan in front of us with a general fund that's still balanced at 10% above the expectations, to mitigate some of those projects that we want to incorporate over the next year, use some of those funds to fund that to lower the cost of that? Is there a way to use funds in that way? So we actually dip a little bit more into our general fund that's actually really healthy right now, as parents percentage-wise, and use some of those to fund some of those projects that doesn't translate into a rate increase. So we bring it back into that 6 to 8% rate, still leaving us with a healthy fund, but not passing all that cost, because at the end of the day, the residents are the ones that built that fund to the level as it is, and it's almost fair if it's possible for us to use that money and mitigate those raises for the 2014. So that would be my question. Is that a possibility, something that can be explored? My next question is, I'm very, very concerned as I look through the budgets and conversations that the budget doesn't seem to have anywhere to fund the partnership with the Southwest EDC. And I explicitly fund, I know that there's some EDC functions in, but partnership with that group, we're in a position right now where we need to be working to build more bridges than we're burning, and we need to find a way to fund those people that work with us and create value partnerships. It's not a great deal of money, and the perception of tossing that, it's the whole reputation angle, the reputation we're trying to dig out of, that's going to dig the hole a little bit deeper and make it harder for us to get out of in that economic development community. So I'm going to have a very hard time supporting a budget that doesn't support that type of partnership, because of the value it would bring with only one single individual that says, Tom and his group helped us find the gardener and helped us locate and create the annexations agreements that land us here. That pays for the lifetime of that agreement, tenfold almost. So I have if I'm missing that, then let me know. But right now I don't see where that's funded.
There's $25,000 in the general fund year over year, which is what I was talking about, the EDC funding.
Right.
It lives in the general fund in an economic development program that currently is being used to fund the
Right.
EDC.
But in the
I didn't specifically note any partner because we need consensus on that.
Sure.
So
I'm looking
the
for
money
that
is still
consensus.
there.
Because
Money's
the way
still
I
there.
read the slide was there's $25,000 not to be used with any partner. Now that may not have been the intent, but
That
that's the
wasn't
way
the
the
intent.
slide read. And if we dedicate that $25,000 to the EDC like we have in the past, that left the rest of those initiatives that we want to do as zero. So then we need to come back and say, because there was only $25,000 on the slide, I don't have it in front of me, but if we dedicate the $25,000 EDC dollars to the Southwest EDC like we've done in the past, that doesn't leave room for anything else. So I think we need to add.
I think I must have misunderstood. Okay.
If we could go back to the slide that
Yeah,
was the
let me
EDC
go
slide, that's
back.
probably the easiest thing to do.
Hold on, because I don't think that's the case. Let me go back and make sure I understand your question.
Sure.
Well, I know it's not the case because all of these are built into the general fund summary you saw separately. So, hold on. Going back. Oops, went too far, didn't I?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Back to initiatives. Pedal faster, hamsters. There it is. Okay.
Yeah.
So
we have an estimated of $25,000, which would, this $25,000 would fund our partnership with the Southwest CDC for 2014.
That's,
So that takes off check 1,
so what
check
else?
3,
Check 3.
well, I mean the boxes as you want to look at it in this. Check.
Those are
so that
just-
doesn't take anything. That doesn't allow us to do any of these other pieces.
No, they're all examples of what the 25,000 would be for. So you're saying even if we had EDC as a partner, we'd still be building internal capacity here. The point of this was that the
Okay.
city leads the effort,
Okay.
regardless
That's
of
perfect
who the partner is. It was all about whoever the partner is. The city is going to start leading this effort, and there's $25,000 that lives in the general fund budget every year.
That's my
Currently
concern, is
being
that
used
those
for
funds are going to be
EDC.
dedicated to other
Yeah.
uses and all of a sudden wouldn't be
No.
available when we're
They're
going
still
to
there.
partnership.
They're still there. They're not. I was merely saying
Okay.
TBD on who it is because we need consensus.
Okay.
So I guess to Heath's point though, if because I kind of read building internal capacity as maybe we could bring in somebody that would help facilitate that, and let's just say that's a part-time person at $10,000. I guess that $25,000 is a whole dollar amount that will be given to something,
Right.
and no decision will be made until council approves on it. It could be Southwest EDC, but if we don't reach consensus, it could be something else.
And we mentioned
Correct.
the special projects manager.
Yes.
And the staffing could also be building internal capacity.
But that's not part of this.
No.
Okay, okay.
Perfect. The other thing that I had, and it's not part of the presentation, but it's part of the budget because it's lined up, is I think there needs to be some careful consideration given to increasing our transient guest tax. Just analysis, I mean, almost every other city within Johnson County right now is 8%. We're at 6%. If we move up to 8% to be in fair alignment with our competition, assuming over the next 10 years, you'd have to think that our rooms are going to at least triple, if not more. We're not changing the game when they come. We're anticipating that. And just next year, that might add $12,000 that we can use for the museum. We can use that for Festival of the Trails. We can use that for these economic development. So I'd like to see us explore that, because that's not a cost, again, that the residents are burdened with supplying. That's transient guest tax. That's people that are coming to Gardner and presenting us with an opportunity to also make some economic development enhancements within the city.
That merely requires an ordinance from the governing body.
So,
Well, I've talked to management at the Super 8. Apparently they're operating at or near capacity every night. So I don't think another 2% on the transient guest tax would.
their highest dollar room is about $100. So we're looking at $2 for their guests, and they're already less than what it is in northern Johnson County. So I don't think we put in any current businesses at competitive disadvantage. But that's a conversation for another night. But it's part of the budget talk, so I want to introduce that this evening. And those were my concerns from what we had today.
One last question on my part. Can we go back to the slide regarding staffing needs for 2014 really quickly? Because there was one in particular. I've been kind of engaged with, or got a little bit of an emotional investment, I think, in the IT side of things. And I saw that you had a network administrator position that was, right there. And you said it's the internal services funds, which is cross-departmental. I understand that. We currently have an open-ended arrangement with Alexander Open Systems. Can't we use that money? It's $10,000 a month right now that we're paying to them. Can we use part or all of that money to fund a network administrator
This was
position?
an additional position. You already had a, what do we call it, IT something specialist in there. So we're using that money to fund AOS plus some other realigned resources. This is an additional position. You would have two.
Here's my question. Understanding the deficiencies we currently have within IT, within our enterprise, I'm not seeing the full value of the $10,000 a month that we're spending on AOS. I think we need to seriously reevaluate that arrangement, and if we can internalize those tasks within a network administrator position or additional IT staff as required, to be able to keep that knowledge in-house and not have to put that out to an entity that one, I question the amount of accountability that they have right now in terms of their billing, and two, when they leave, they take their knowledge with them, and we are stuck. So I think we need to seriously consider making that an internal position, and two, looking at our funding structure for that, because I think that we are putting ourselves in a massive amount of exposure on this.
Don't we have open positions right now for that job?
For the lesser, this is a
One.
greater second position. There is a position open right now.
And what is that? What is the pay on that position, roughly?
Which one?
Whatever.
The one that's posted today?
The
one
IT
that-
specialist
what is
is
the
roughly
title?
55.
40 to 50.
Somewhere in that range.
40 to 50?
That's
Or-
Something
a
like
junior
that.
level. That's a junior level tax.
That's right.
It really is.
And that's what we had before.
And
And a staff of one doesn't work very well in IT, which is exactly what you just said.
which is what you just said.
Right.
And we would have the ability with an administrator to reduce the expenses that
Mhm.
you're
Certainly.
seeing, because you're going to have some internal capacity, which you want in an organization of this size. You want internal capacity.
but I guess Steve's